Hi, I'm Eric with Home Network Central, and I'm going to show you how to add multiple routers to your home network so you can have different networks around your house. Let's say you have this main router that's on the internet, and maybe it's in your living room or maybe it's in your home office and it's already set up and it's already on the internet, but you want to add a second router, let's say to Eric's room, so you can have another network in Eric's room and still use the internet from this main router. Now the first thing I'm going to want to do is log into my main router. So I'm going to go on my laptop here and I'm going to open up Chrome and I'm going to make sure I'm on my wireless network of my main router. So I'm going to go to my Wi-Fi. You see I'm on the netgear 10 network. I want to be on the Wi-Fi of my main router. Yours might be named different, but that's the one you want to be connected to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log into the interface of the main router. So I'm going to go to 192.168.1.1 because that's the IP address of my router. I seem to have typed it wrong, but there we go. 192.168.1.1. So now what I'm going to do is on my main router, I want to make a note of the IP address, and also I'm going to change the DHCP pool. So on this router, I go to Advanced, and I'm going to Setup and LAN Setup. So it might be different on your router. You can use it pretty much any router to do this. So I want to make sure DHCP is enabled on this main router. So the box is checked. Use DHCP, that's important. And then this pool down here, whenever a client connects to this router, these are the IP addresses that will be assigned to it. So I don't want to start at 2. This router is 192.168.1.1. That's how I logged in here. I don't want to use that IP, so it starts at 2, but I don't want to start at 2 because I want 2 to be my other router, so I can't. It never changes, so I always know that that IP address is that router. So I want my IP address for all my clients that connect to my laptop to start at something else. I'm just going to say 10. So 1 through 9 will never be assigned to anything unless I manually assign it. So I'm changing that to 10. And I'm going to go ahead and save by clicking apply. So that's going to go ahead and change the settings. And I'm just going to wait for that to restart. So now that it's been saved, and what we've done is we've made sure that DHCP is enabled on our main router, and we've changed the DHCP available IP addresses pool. That's what we did on the main router. So now let's go to the router that's over in Eric's room, or whatever room it's in for you, and we're going to configure that router. So I'm connected to my netgear, but now I want to disconnect and I want to connect to my other router. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to connect to my Linksys. I typed in my password, so I connect to my Linksys. I make sure it's connected. So okay, I got a strong connection. So now I'm going to go back to my interface. And I don't want to be on the netgear, so I'm going to refresh this page. I'm going to go to, again, 192.168.1.1 because that's the interface also for this router. So I'm going to go to that router. And I'm going to log in here. So once I'm on my secondary router, what I'm going to do is disable DHCP and I'm going to give it a static IP address. So on this router, I happen to go to configuration, and then there's a box right here where that says DHCP server. I want to make sure DHCP is turned off. And then remember the IP address of the main router on here is 192.168.1.1. This one is also 192.168.1.1. But we don't want them to have the same IP address. We're about to add them to the same network. We don't want them to have the same 1.1 IP address. So the router that's secondary, we're going to give this one an IP address of 192.168.1.2. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that, and when I do, I'm going to lose access to my router, but no worries, because we're going to connect it. We're going to connect these routers together and we'll still be able to get to this router. So I'm going to go ahead and save this setting. Again, I disabled DHCP and I changed the IP address. So once this is done, this one will be 192.168.1.2 and the main router will be 192.168.1.1. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here and I'm going to save this secondary router. And again, we're going to lose access to this router. We're not going to be able to get back to it because we're not going to have the right IP address, and it's restarting. So now that that router has restarted and we don't have access to it anymore, I'm going to use an Ethernet cable to connect those two routers together. So on my main router here, I'm going to plug one end of the Ethernet cable into one of the LAN ports. And now on my secondary router in Eric's room, I'm also going to plug the other end of that cable into one of the LAN ports. Just like that. So now on the main router, I have DHCP enabled. I also changed the DHCP pool from the lowest IP to be 10 or higher, so that everything under 10 we can use as another router. So this one is 192.168.1.1, and this one has DHCP disabled, and the IP address is 192.168.1.2. So now to show you how this is beneficial to us of changing those IP addresses, let's connect to this netgear, our main Wi-Fi network. So I'm going to go down to my Wi-Fi settings and I'm going to connect to my netgear network, which I already am right now. So I'm going to open up my browser and I'm going to go to 192.168.1.1 and I'm going to log in. So I'm logged into the Wi-Fi network on this router, but now watch what else I can do. I'll open up another tab and now I can go to 192.168.1.2, which is the IP address of this other router. So I'll go to that IP address, and now I'm accessing the interface of this router, even though I'm connected to the Wi-Fi of my main router. Now this other Wi-Fi network, this other router also has its own Wi-Fi network. So if I want to, I'm accessing the administrative interface of that router. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is the router in Eric's room. So I log in here, and if I want to have this Wi-Fi network named something special so I know what it is, I can go ahead and change the Wi-Fi settings of this secondary router. I'm going to go to Wi-Fi. Alright, so now I have this router in Eric's room, so I can change this if I want. Like, this is the 5 gigahertz. So I'm going to rename this one Eric's room, and I'm going to leave the 5 gigahertz net on the end so I know which one it is. And on this bottom one, I'm going to change this one to Eric's room. So the one that just says Eric's room is this router, the 2.4 gigahertz network. And the one that says Eric's room 5 gigahertz is also from that router, but it's the 5 gigahertz network. So I'm going to go ahead and save these settings. And now that the setting has been saved, I can go down to my wireless networks and see that Eric's room is now available. So I can join that network if I want. going to go ahead and type in my default password. And I can go ahead and connect to that network. And let's make sure I'm connected. Okay, so I'm connected to Eric's room Wi-Fi network. So I can open my browser. 192.168.1.1. And I can still access my netgear router. And I can still access the Linksys. That's that one.